Greetings, I'm Brian from RC Workboat Haven. In this video, I'd like to do a quick overview on how I built this Faux Steam Launch, piloted by the beaver Skippy. So let's take a quick look at this model down at the lake. You'll see that there is smoke coming out of the boiler, and what I had done is drop in a small pellet used by beekeepers. So let's take a look at that, and then I'll show you how I built this. So this model has three major components attached to the hull. We've got a boiler made of a modified bee smoker. We've got the faux steam engine constructed of wood mainly. And we have a beaver puppet that sits onto a platform. In case of a large wave or hitting a rock and suddenly heeling over, I wanted these parts to be fixed onto the deck. On the port and starboard side, I have a little screw down with a tab, so I'll just release that on both sides. And now the boiler will lift out of that recess, and right here, a tube slides off a piece of dowling. It opens up here, and this is the platform where I could drop in one or three of those little smoking pellets, close it up, and plenty of smoke comes out for a number of minutes. Now inside the boiler area is where I have access to my batteries and electronics. Just ahead of the forward end of the battery boxes, I have three 1-pound weights. The antenna runs up through a hole on the port side. I have the standard setup with a electronic pod box. Inside the pod box is an electronic speed control with a built-in cooling fan, the receiver for the Steamboat transmitter, and an on-off switch. There are two 3,000 milliamp batteries, and these are set into small beds so they don't slide around. This electronic speed control will run one or two motors. This connection I'm holding up is running over to the main motor that is attached to the prop shaft and the prop. This other one is connected to the steam engine. So instead of having two propellers in operation, I've diverted the wires so that it runs the steam engine. And from this angle, you can see the steam engine running. And down below here, you can see the propeller turning. It's fully proportional. I have a cotter pin holding down the base of the steam engine here and on the opposite corner. And now the whole steam engine unit will just lift out of a recess. And I'm using the same 540 can 12-volt motor with a small gear on the motor shaft running a larger gear attached to the motor. Reverse, forward. I can disconnect the steam engine here. I have a lid that fits over top of the motor. Now I've made this motor so it will come apart. By undoing these four screws here at the top of the post, the whole upper end will come off. On the underneath, the bearings are fastened on here with two screws. All these parts are wood. The top of the motor comes off. Everything up top is held in place with a 3mm rod that goes right through. This has a flange on it that stops that rod from coming out. All of it can be taken apart. So now with the steam engine removed, this operates just like a normal launch. with 1 electric motor, universal joint, 3mm shaft, lubricated shaft tube, and 42mm prop. So now we're looking aft at Skippy the beaver, the last fixture. Skippy's paws are wired on to the wheel here and here, and his feet are wired onto a platform further aft. The wheel is made of wood and just freely turns here on its hub. Down here is a rod that is just an extension of the servo. This ring is a loose fit on a piece of 2mm servo rod. The ring is bolted onto a piece of brass, and the brass is fixed onto the wheel. This black painted after section is held on by 2 cotter pins here and here. This rope here is held on by a piece of wire. This line is lightly secured to a cleat down below, and it keeps Skippy's head roughly in the center line of the boat. So now I've undone this rope, and I'll pull out those 2 cotter pins. And now the after unit will slide forward off that rudder extension rod. And here's Skippy the beaver. Here's his back feet. There's the base. He just loves it. And that's how the steering wheel is activated. So going along the deck, I have good access all the way along to the bottom of the hull and up forward. I have a small hatch that gives me access right in here. Reassembly just takes a few minutes. So I'm sure if a detailed scale modeler took a look at this, I'd bring them to tears. But there's not too many people who know nothing about RC who wouldn't pick this up and give it a try. And by doing that, we encourage interest in the hobby. Thanks for watching.